Okay, now let's take you live to Kwa-Khangelamankengane Royal Palace, where my colleague Siphamandla Goge is standing by as they are awaiting the arrival of the remains of the departed Queen Regent Mantfombi Dlamini Zulu. Good afternoon, Siphamandla. What can you tell us? What's happening right now as the Royal Palace is awaiting the arrival of the remains of the departed Queen Regent?
Indeed, activities here at Kwa-Khangelamankengane Royal Palace, I can tell you that mourners continue to trickle in. Let me not waste too much of the time because I need to release our guest, Prince Mangosu Tubuthelezi. Mntwana siyathokoza ngesikhathi sakho. It's a very sad day today. The remains of the departed Queen Regent are making their way to Kwa-Khangelamankengane Royal Palace. It's sad for the Zulu nation, for the Swazi nation. What will happen now moving forward once the Queen arrives here at the palace?
Well, of course, the remains are still in the hands of the undertakers, because I think that she was going to be transferred. Her body was going to be transferred in a mobile fridge, and I think that they'll carry out whatever is needed, to put it in the coffin, and then maybe we'll then wait until tomorrow, until tonight, at the crack of dawn when these mortal remains are then interred.
I know that will be a private ceremony according to her wishes. We don't want to delve much into what will happen, but if you are at liberty to tell us what will happen, who is going to be playing a leading role? Is it her church? Is it Amabuto, the royal family, for that private burial ceremony, the interment?
The leading people in fetching the mortal remains of the Queen are the Ndwandwe family, who are actually the family of the late King's mother, the Ndwandwes, who actually are people of the Queen Mother, Queen Tomo Jezengani, the mother of the late King, and playing a leading part will be members of the Swazi royal family, who actually arrived yesterday, led by Prince Guduza, the brother of King Mswati, and Induna Ginitsa from Swaziland, and the third, of course, with the royal family, and the group that was sent to Johannesburg was led by Prince Vanana Kambuzini Kamyaiza Gandabugu. I mean, they played the leading part, and I think even in the ceremony where the interment takes place, there the people will actually play a leading part.
Personally, Shenge, you have seen a lot when the father to the late king departed, Upushobkali, the king himself departed, now it's the Queen. How do you feel as a family, this bereavement back to back and these setbacks?
I feel that while I thank God that I'm still up and about at this age, but I regret very much the pain that I feel as I look back and I see that I still carry this load of responsibility, load of grief, and the load of being in the forefront of the arrangements, and also, of course, all the things that have happened even in the past. Even during the funeral of my late first cousin, the King of Kwa-Khangelamankengane, King Cyprian Peguzulu Nyangazizwe, there were some moments which were in fact, I was walking out and was stopped by senior members of the royal family from doing so. So, I mean, it's not very pleasant that while we're bearing the pain or nursing the grief, that one should, in addition, have all these ructions that are taking place.
You mentioned these ructions. Your statement said there will be no leadership vacuum. The priority for now is to mourn and continue with the interment of the Queen's remains. But after this, are we going to see family meetings to discuss and decide on other important issues regarding the issue of Islalo Mntwana?
In fact, I think I applaud what the King did, because he has made it very simple. I don't think that we're going to crack our heads. I mean, we're not going to have our choice to elect who should, everything will happen in accordance. All that is left for us to interpret what it means by leaving a will naming the Queen. So the matter is quite simple and straightforward, and I cannot say more than that.
I'm sorry to sound pushy. When will AmaZulu know about the decision? Once everything is done, the internment, when will AmaZulu know what will happen?
I think they should be patient, because, I mean, we're grieving now, we're mourning. I don't think AmaZulu should be impatient and say, let's do things quickly, just because they're curious to know. I think that they should really understand that when people are in mourning, they should be given space to mourn, you know.
No,
but there's a matter I also wanted to address. This morning I had to send a message to Johannesburg, because I regret the fact that, of course, people are young and people love the royal family, and that people now were singing songs which are not normally sung, and some of them going to the extent of dancing. Even now when I arrived, I saw a small group there dancing. This is not an occasion for that. There are hymns that are sung, especially when an important person of the royal family, the king or the queen, is actually passed away. And I've just even told Mr. Mngango, who is actually one of the king's praisers, that they must send a message to the Indunas to say that it is wrong to think that this is an occasion for dancing and so on, and to sing any song except the hymns of the nation. And also, of course, the other issue that I've addressed, but in the newspapers, was that issue, you know, Mr. Goge, that we talked about with you, the issue of saying that merely when I passed on what the doctors said about the illness of the king, then this was interpreted as if I'm accusing anyone or any group or clique of people in the royal family of having poisoned the queen, whereas I never said so. You are my witness what happened. In fact, you have interviewed me about that. So I just think that it's a very important thing for me to say when there are others as well who were not there when we talked, because I merely mentioned the fact that twice the doctors hesitated about operating on the queen, doing the operation, because there were toxins, which is not the same thing as poison. It's a medical term, in the liver of the queen, so they didn't do that. Then they pressed me about what actually caused the queen's death. Well, so far we don't know. But I said that when she fell ill, it was not a secret that when you, Mr. Goge, is my witness, His Majesty, who was celebrating his coronation in December 2017 at Kwa-Khangelamankengane Royal Palace, said, and this is verbatim, he said, Umntwana Nkosi has been poisoned, quote unquote. You see, I merely said so. So I think that's important to clarify this matter, because it's very serious when people deliberately distort on a matter of such seriousness and a matter of grief to the nation, because I've not accused anyone of being mthakathi or anything myself. That is all I said. I'm repeating what I've already said.
Thank you very much. Well, that is Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the traditional prime minister of the Zulu nation, speaking to us here about what will happen when those remains of the departed Queen Regent arrive at Kwa-Khangelamankengane. So please stop. I don't want you to trip my brother. Let's go this way rather. That is my hard-working colleague Kanyiso Mdlalose here. As you can see outside the palace, inside the palace rather, many more mourners are gathered. The delegation from the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government is here. The Premier of the province, Sihlezi Kalala, will be joining them in welcoming the mortal remains of Umntwana Nkosi. We have taken so much of your time. Let's bring it back to you in Johannesburg.
But it was very important conversation to hear, Siphamandla, particularly the additional clarifications by Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi about what he had actually said, which had fueled speculation about the poisoning or not poisoning of the Queen Regent when he was trying to clarify there. I think it was important because he had that conversation with you and referring to the 2017 anniversary of the coronation of the departed King Goodwill Zwelithini Kabheka Zulu as well. So it was very important. Thank you very much for bringing that to us on the Media View this hour. That's Siphamandla Goge there at the Royal Palace in KwaZulu-Natal.